Los Angeles Lakers fans have been mourning the loss of the Staples Center name. Part of it is nostalgia, and part of it is the fact the venue is now named after a dubious website peddling in a dodgy field. However, this isn't the first time an NBA arena name has been used as a platform for a massive scam. More than a decade ago, we witnessed one of basketball's darkest times. Okay, so yeah, maybe that's a bit of a reach. But when the infamous owners of the Sacramento Kings, the Maloof Brothers, accepted a bag of cash from a hologram bracelet maker to rename the downtrodden Arco Arena Power Balance Pavilion in 2011, the league definitely didn't do itself any favors. Now, it must be said, Power Balance trinkets were extremely popular for a hot minute in the late 2000s. Seemingly every athlete was wearing them, and then NBA Commissioner David Stern gladly allowed the company to sell officially licensed NBA products. However, the hologram bracelet maker had been forced to admit that their products were a sham before the arena naming deal was even reached. At least Crypto.com got their agreement in place before the jig was up. Power Balance was already the frame of the Hindenburg burning on the ground when its name went up on the Kings' home. This is the story of that one time an NBA arena was named after a massive scam. Super honesty time. Men really want to wear accessories. The problem most of us have is that in order to do so, we need some sort of a justification. Look, you can't just sport a necklace. There has to be a story behind why. Livestrong tapped into this big time in the mid-2000s with the launch of the iconic yellow bracelet. Guys could wear something on their wrist without needing to make an excuse. They were supporting the fight against cancer, and it just happened to look cool. Lance Armstrong's retirement, coupled with the natural lifespan of a trend, saw the popularity of the Livestrong bracelet wane towards the latter parts of the decade. There was a gap in the market, and that brings us to Power Balance. Look, we could all sit here and pretend that this wasn't a thing, but this was a big thing. We all wanted to rock these bracelets and unleash the power of holograms to enhance our athletic performance. Everyone from sports stars to college kids were wearing these things. The $29.99 Power Balance bracelet allowed dudes to wear an accessory without needing to have to explain it. Having one on made us a better athlete. Yeah, so about that claim. It turns out wearing a hologram on your wrist does absolutely fuck all. Several studies were published between 2009 and 2011, and the results weren't good for the company. Each one basically concluded that there was no difference in balance between people using a holographic wristband and ones wearing a placebo. It would get even worse for Power Balance at the end of 2010 when the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission forced the company to admit it had misled the public about the bracelet's benefits and required them to provide refunds to any customer who wanted one. Things were not going well for Power Balance heading into 2011. Over in Sacramento, California, a pair of brothers could relate to the hologram producer's plight. While Power Balance was making money hand over fist selling hologram bracelets through false marketing, the Maloof Brothers were appearing in rap music videos and trying to get a new arena built in Sacramento. Neither endeavor was particularly pleasant to watch. Anyway, about the same time scientists were uncovering the truth about Power Balance products, the Maloof's fortunes began changing. Henry Abbott noted the Kings lost $13 million in 2009 and 2010, and the brothers were forced to sell their family business. Additionally, their Palms Casino in Las Vegas was hemorrhaging money. This forced the brothers to fold the Sacramento Monarchs, their WNBA team, and lay off a bunch of employees. On the court, the Kings had transformed from the league's darlings into doormats, thanks to some of the worst coaching hires imaginable. Constant bitching about needing a new arena after being rebuffed on several occasions didn't win the duo any fans either. Sponsors could not get away from the sinking ship fast enough. This included Arco, the West Coast gas chain and title sponsor of the Kings' home, which was then known as Arco Arena. The oil company informed the team it was not renewing the arena rights name agreement in September 2010. With the deal set to expire in February 2011, the Maloofs needed to act quickly. Unfortunately, this wasn't a great time to be in the market for naming rights deals. The US was still reeling from the recession, and several notable stadiums, including Cowboy Stadium, the home of the Cowboys, Oklahoma City Arena, home of the Thunder, and the nearby Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, home of the Athletics and Raiders, were among those searching for sponsors. And, of course, the Kings' residency at the arena was on borrowed time anyway. The Maloofs were actively searching for a new place to play. No one would be dumb enough to get involved with this mess. Well, almost no one. Power Balance saw an arena naming rights deal with Sacramento as the ideal way to elevate their brand. The agreement was announced on January 11th, 2011. We will come back to why that date is important in a bit. Anyway, the only thing less credible than the benefit claims made by Power Balance about holograms were its statements on the Kings. The Maloof organization presented a unique opportunity to bring together Power Balance's young and hungry brand with a youthful and talented NBA team. We are excited to work together to activate new community and wellness-focused events to engage people in multiple markets. So yeah, there was not a lot of talent on that Sacramento team. Sure, Tyreke Evans and DeMarcus Cousins were around, but Samuel Dalembert also started like 46 games for the team, and no one would describe guys like Dante Green and Marcus Thornton as talented. The Maloof's take on the partnership was equally as myopic. We are thrilled to be partners with Power Balance. This is a great collaboration for the entire Kings franchise, and we are particularly excited in this economy to be able to sign a multi-year agreement with a company on Power Balance's trajectory. That last line in particular is ridiculous. Power Balance's trajectory was nothing to be excited about. The only thing sinking faster than the bracelet maker might have been the Maloof Brothers' empire. What could possibly go wrong when two lead balloons tie themselves together? We mentioned earlier the naming rights deal was agreed to on January 11th, 2011, and we want to take note of that date. The new Power Balance Pavilion name wouldn't go into effect until March, giving the two sides nearly 2 months to muck things up. And muck they did. It started on January 21st of that year, when a class action lawsuit was filed against Power Balance, as well as two of its most notable NBA endorsers, Shaquille O'Neal and Lamar Odom. The suit claimed the hologram peddlers committed fraud, false advertising, unfair competition, and unjust enrichment. The company responded by releasing the following statement, which basically says, "We know we're guilty, but won't admit it." Frankly, we know there will always be critics of new technologies, but our products are used by those with open minds who experience real results. Our company is absolutely committed to further evaluating the technology behind its product's performance so that we can continue to offer products that enhance people's lifestyle. Not wanting to be out-sleazed bagged by their soon-to-be new partners, Joe and Gavin Maloof began leaking information about their plans to move the team to Anaheim. Before the naming rights deal could even go into effect, these rumblings were so loud that NBA Commissioner David Stern was forced to confirm discussions on relocation were already happening. It basically looked like the Kings were going to move, and most likely at the end of the 2010-11 season. The arena hadn't even been rebranded under its new name, and the sponsor was being sued for fraud, while the team was planning to move as soon as humanly possible. Despite all of these negative headlines, the building did become Balance Pavilion by March 1st as planned. That did little to change the fortunes of either party. And let's just say the talks of moving, nor the arena now being named after a scam company, did much to convince the people of Sacramento to come see the Kings play. The team finished with the second lowest attendance in the NBA during the 2010-11 season. Things were going even worse for the franchise off the court. Despite Sacramento's move to Anaheim being classified as a done deal, the NBA blocked it from happening in May of that year. A group of local investors stepped up with funding, while both the Los Angeles Lakers and Clippers were rumored to be adamantly opposed to a third team setting up shop in SoCal. The Maloof family was dealt another crushing blow a month later when they were forced to give up ownership of their prized Palms Casino Resort in order to clear up about $40 million worth of debt. They did, however, get to keep a 2% stake in the property, so at least that was something. It would be more than Power Balance would leave the year with. The company spent most of 2011 trying to pretend like nothing was wrong on the surface. Behind the scenes though, it was burning through cash, and that class action lawsuit proved to be unshakable. The company eventually reached a $57.4 million settlement in November of that year, and then immediately filed for bankruptcy. According to those filings, Power Balance suffered a net loss of more than $9 million between January and October of 2011. The settlement essentially signaled a death blow for the hologram outfitter, although it later tried to claim that settlement was only for $1 million and not $57 million as reported earlier. Whatever the case may be, going bankrupt crushed the cash-strapped Maloof Brothers, who not only lost a source of revenue, but couldn't go out and replace it right away. Bankruptcy proceedings had to play out before the arena naming agreement could be canceled outright. For the better part of a year, the Sacramento Kings home carried the name of a bankrupt scam company who wasn't even paying them for the right. If you peruse any list of worst arena names, Sleep Train Arena usually pops up alongside Enron Field and a few of the other usual suspects. But few of these lists mention Power Balance Pavilion, its predecessors. This is totally unfair. Look, an NBA stadium named after a regional mattress retailer wasn't great, but it was significantly better than being sponsored by hologram bracelets. All of us in Sacramento knew Sleep Train, and their jingle is probably burned into the brain of everyone who's ever lived in the city.
Sleep Train, your ticket to a better night's sleep.
More importantly, the investment showed that maybe the Kings had a future in the city. It would have been easy for everyone to abandon ship, especially considering just how awful the Maloofs were, but Sleep Train stepped up. By November 2012, Power Balance branding had been completely removed and the scam was officially gone. Unfortunately, the Maloofs would stick around for roughly 6 more months, trying their hardest to move the team. That was blocked by the NBA, and eventually the Kings were sold to a group of investors committed to making it work in Sacramento. As for Sleep Train Center, the franchise played there for 3 more seasons while Golden One Center was being built. The Kings would leave ahead of the 2016-17 season, with the old arena hosting some random events since then. Most recently, it was used as a COVID-19 patient overflow center. It could be demolished sometime in 2020 with a hospital and medical campus now planned for the site. That project is still under review. However, even life as a vacant, empty building is still better than being named after one of the biggest scams of the past 20 years. And that is the story of the one time an NBA arena was named after a massive scam. For more random sports stories, be sure to check out the playlist in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Until next time, this is the Touchback. I'm Cheyenne Hollis, and as always, hashtag take it out to the 25.